So I do program related things. So planning programs, creating things, getting people together, kind of it's my portion in life right now that I'm enjoying. And so I'll also let Diane introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. I know many of you, but my name is Diane Ward, and I serve as the Executive Director here at Project Transformation North Georgia. And now you've met the entire staff at PT North Georgia, just the two of us. We have amazing summer interns, but it's not summer. And so no interns, but you will get to meet Marty later, who is our volunteer coordinator. And normally we would have everyone introduce themselves, but there's quite a few of you, and in order to honor your time, I'd love for you to drop in the chat. So we're going to practice using the chat feature, which is a part of something you might do during this volunteer opportunity. But just drop in the chat your name and your partner church or partner organization affiliation. So some of you might be with Junior League, some of you might be partner churches, and some of you might be with our Give Pulse partner, Georgia State. Oh look, we got some Junior League of DeKalb County. We got Neighborhood Church, St. James UMC, Northbrook, United Methodist Women. Wonderful, Georgia State. We love Georgia State. We love all of you. Okay, great. Thanks everybody for introducing. We got lots of junior leaguers on here. Welcome. Sonia, what's next?
So I guess we'll just start with the PowerPoint and start going through it. We do have a portion for questions at the end, but if you're like dying to ask a question in the middle, feel free. I probably won't be able to see you because I'm sharing my screen. So if Diane can kind of keep track of anybody who's kind of raising their hands or looking confused. Even though we're planning, this is something new. So I'm always open to suggestions and ideas as we go along. I figure nothing is really created until the day that you're actually doing it. Then you get kind of all comes together. So let me share my screen.
And we're going to ask if everyone will just go ahead and mute yourselves if you're not speaking so we don't get any feedback or echoes.
I had to pull up. Oh, sorry. So I'm going to start by letting Diane kind of introduce a little bit more about us and our vision and our mission and what we're doing and why we're doing it.
Yes. So I'd like to start with a story. And many of you who were summer readers might know this story. But this is the story of Amaya. And when Amaya started virtual reading with us this summer, she was super shy. Her camera would be off, and when she spoke, she would do like a really quiet whisper. And then when her camera would be on, she would have this like stuffed animal, like I can't remember if it was a bear or a zebra, but she would hide it, like she'd hide behind it and talk to the camera that way. And she was really, really shy, spoke really quietly. But then as time went on, she started to open up. She started to speak louder. And one day she was in a breakout room on her own, and she read this dinosaur book with really hard words. Because, Tyrannosaurus, all those really hard things to say. But she read that all on her own, really loud and proud, to a room full of people that were strangers weeks before. And I love this story because it also transferred over to our distribution site. So she would bring that little stuffed animal to site pickup, and she would show us her toys, and would get really excited about the books we would give her, and then she'd read them, sometimes in virtual reading. And so Amaya is just one example of intentional time where we're building purposeful relationships, which is what we're about. So engaging children, college-age young adults, in churches and purposeful relationships. And that's where you all come in as really great volunteers about these purposeful relationships with these kids, because it does take time to build trust. But as trust is built and they become more comfortable, the kids will, that's where they will learn and grow their best. This summer we did virtual camp because, COVID, and it went really well for, only having 2 months to figure out a new program. But we, so we have reading, and Sonia will talk a little bit about how that will change. But we kept hearing from our families over and over again, I'm tired, I need things for my kids to do, the kids love the program. And so we decided to continue our programming into the fall, until school returned to normal, whatever normal looks like, moving forward. But that's a little bit about who we are, and why we're doing this.
So this is just kind of FYI. We do have 2 sites, Stone Mountain First United Methodist Church in Stone Mountain, and North Springs United Methodist Church in Sandy Springs. And so virtually we have kids from both sites that are signed up. So they won't be separated since it's virtual, but just so you all know kind of where we're based out of. So how this works. Information up here. So every Tuesday and Thursday, starting next week, we'll have kids coming on from around 4 o'clock. We'll kind of keep it open 4 to 5 because kids may not be able to log on right at 4. We'll ask you volunteers to sign on a little bit earlier, so like 3:45, 3:50. That'll give us a chance to just kind of plan out like who's going to do what. If you want to talk about what books are going to be read, if you want to assign someone who's a monitor. We will be using breakout rooms. And so in Zoom, there's a feature where we can separate people out. And so you'll be one-on-one with the student, unless they are like sharing a phone, then it'd be maybe like 1 adult and 2 students. And so with that student, if they have homework, we're gonna ask that you help them with their homework. If they don't have homework, then we'll use it as a reading time, which is what we did this summer. And so if you have electronic books, they work out really well, like Kindle books. And I don't know if we can download the books that we have or how that'll work, but we'll try to also have electronic books that are available. So that way, when you're sharing your screen, it's easier for everyone to read. Another thing, yep.
You can access virtual books through the local library. So if you haven't become a DeKalb County Library or Fulton County or whatever county you're in library member, you can do it online, and then you have access to online books that you can share your screen with.
Yeah, so I will assign, it'll probably either be me or if someone's just dying to host a Zoom call, let me know. I'm willing to share responsibilities, but I'll be assigning each adult to a child. And then we'll have what's called a monitor. And so that monitor, I would move in and out of each room. And so that's just an added layer of security with our kids since you're one-on-one. making help our parents feel more secure that we're taking care of our kids and we're concerned about their safety. And so we'll have monitors coming in and out. They'll kind of either help with what you're doing or just kind of watch if they can help. But just so you know, someone may pop in and out of your room at any moment. There's an ask for help button at the bottom of your screen that you can also use. So if you have an issue, you're able to press that button and that'll get my attention. And so, like I said, students will start coming in from 4 to 5. And so if you wrap up, I don't think it's a problem for you to just to come back to the main screen and say, hey, we're done with our assignment or we're done reading, and kind of let the student go. And so we'll see how many. Right now we probably have about, I think, 25 kids signed up. So we probably won't get 25 every time, but we'll kind of see how it goes from week to week. And so this is just if you're doing reading, what's important. I'm sorry, how do I go back? So normally if we're doing a whole summer, then we're really trying to increase their reading level. But since we're doing it virtually, we don't kind of have the same tools that we would have on a normal camp. And so right now we're just trying to increase their desire to read. And so we just want it to be a fun time. If you can get them to read, that's great. If you have to read to them, like the story Diane gave about Maya, that's still impactful for you to sit and read to them because it makes them more comfortable. As they get more comfortable, a lot of times they'll want to read. Some of our kids would come, and they'll be like, hey, I have this book that I want to read. It has to be this book. And so if they want to read, having the patience and time to let them read and kind of read it together with them. And so this time, this is also different from this summer, is that we'll have a Google form. And so I'll probably put it in the chat at the beginning of the thing. And so when you're working with your kid, if you could just open up the Google chat, put in really quick, like your name, their name, and what you worked on. And that'll kind of help us keep track of each of the students. That'll help us keep track of attendance. It'll help us keep track if there's something specific. Like if we see a student that's continually coming with math problems or reading problems, that'll probably help us in matching volunteers and their interest to that student, or if they're having a certain difficulty. And so just it can be just a sentence or about your session notes, about what happened, what you learned about them, where they are, where they're struggling with. And then, like I said, if you'll do that every single time that you volunteer, that will help us in keeping track of data. If you're gonna read, also, I think it's best to always have a book prepared. So even if you finish your homework assignment early, you can do a short book, or even one time just someone did a poems and they worked out really well. So if you have a short amount of time and you just want to read a poem with a kid, having something prepared to kind of fill in the time. And so in your breakout room, I'm gonna ask you to introduce yourself and ask the kid about themselves. That'll kind of get them to open up. It can be something as simple as, how's your day going? Or, what's the best thing about your day? Tell me something about you that starts with the first letter of your name. Just something to kind of get them speaking and engaged. If you're reading, showing them the cover, asking the kids throughout the entire reading process different questions to kind of get them involved and engaged. So, what do they think the book is about? Who do you think is in the story? And even after you finish reading, asking them comprehension questions, because that's also important. If you're helping with homework, it's just kind of going in and saying, hey, what is your assignment? And then, like I said, be really realistic about what you can accomplish. If they have a huge assignment and you can accomplish a huge assignment, it may be easier to say, what part of this assignment do you really need help with? Or what's the biggest problem that you're struggling with? And so maybe helping them with a concept or a single problem that will help them complete their homework after the call. Like I said before, while you're reading, asking questions, pausing to ask questions. I think Diane, in the video that we send out, there's a video that's sent out that has some more information about reading to kids and asking questions and what's useful for them. And so these are just some example questions. What do you think will happen next? How is the character feeling? How do you know? Has something like this ever happened to you before? And so making sure that you're listening and you're recognizing if they've missed a word. And so helping them with words that they are missing, words that they're pronouncing wrong, words that you think that they're reading right, but they may not understand what they actually mean. And so again, this is just some ideas of when you're finished, just kind of going back and making sure that they understood what they read. Because a lot of times kids can read, but don't understand exactly what it is that they read. And so asking them questions afterwards, like what they remember or what happened at the beginning or the middle or the end, or asking them about a specific character, kind of gives you a chance to fill out where they are in their reading. And again, these are just questions you can ask. And so after you're done, I think with any volunteer opportunity, whether it's distribution or virtual, you get a survey through GivePulse. And so we ask that you fill that out. That helps us adjust and change things that we need to change to make our process easier and smoother. And I know it can get tedious if you're volunteering a lot, but we still ask that you participate. It helps us, like I said, just to always get your feedback after each time you do it.
I'll add the feedback from this summer for virtual reading was really helpful. Like we adjusted weekly almost and quickly based on feedback because you all are just spending more time in the rooms than we are. And so we appreciate the feedback.
And so actually before we do a breakout room, I want to introduce Marty and have a slide for her. But she's going to be our volunteer manager this fall, stuck in summer. And so you'll be getting a lot of like confirmation emails from her. After you sign up, she'll probably be in contact if you have any issues. She'd be like your kind of first contact. And so Marty, did you want to introduce yourself?
Hello all, my name is Marty Frame. I'm with St. Michael's and All Angels Episcopal Church in Stone Mountain. And I volunteered this summer at Project Transformation. This is my first experience with it. So given COVID, I've got some extra time on my hands. So I'm hoping to help them with the volunteer coordination, which is a lot of emails and such. And I'll try to answer your questions to the best of my ability or send it off to Diane or Sonia who can answer them more specifically. But I look forward to meeting you all. Thank you.
And so I kind of want to suggest kind of break out so you get the feel of what it feels like to be kind of broken out. I know I've seen a lot of your faces before, so you already know. Diane, are you able to break us out into rooms?
Yes, and if you've never done a breakout room before, what's going to happen is you will it'll go away like the Zoom call has ended and you just pause and wait for it to revamp. So just don't click X, but rather just wait for it to do its thing. So I'm going to do 2 rooms with 9 to 10 participants per room. And then we'll come back pretty quickly because there's a little bit more training to go over. Did you want us to do anything specific in the room, Sonia?
No, I mean, you just might want to check and see your features, making sure you can share your screen. Zoom has a cool feature. I think they have that feature where you can do like a whiteboard screen. So if you're helping a kid with homework, that may be something you can use. So just making sure that you know how to do it so it's familiar on the day of.
Okay, so I'm gonna break us out and Sonia put you in one room and then put myself in another room so that we can go over all those features. Here we go. Okay, everyone. We're missing 2 people. Melissa, do you see where you can click? All right, we're waiting on a couple more people to come back from their breakout rooms.
And I'm doing a quick search. It does look like Atlanta Public Schools might have a homework help line. Not sure if it's the same connection or not, but.
Cool. I don't think we have any APS kids.
Oh, well, there's that.
Yeah, that was one thing I realized, because we've got, being in Sandy Springs and
DeKalb.
Right.
in Stone Mountain, we're pretty far away. We might have some Gwinnett kids,
Right.
because we're
I was trying to ask whether the schools systems that they attend have that. That was
Yeah. Gotcha.
We can find out. That's a great question. I didn't know that was a accessible resource.
So basically the children could like hold up their paper to the phone or to their screen so that tutors could help. Is that how it's going to work?
Potentially. One of the things we haven't covered yet in the training is the barriers to kids having quality Wi-Fi. So half the time I can't even get quality Wi-Fi. It's just such a struggle. So sometimes one thing we learned this summer was sharing something, like it just is blurry sometimes. And so it's going to be an adventure, and we'll figure out as we go what we can practically be helpful with and what we can't. Sonia, what was next on our agenda?
Just had questions. I answered a lot of questions in our separate call. So let me go over some of the answers that I gave the people, and then I don't know if I don't mention something, maybe Diane, you can mention what was mentioned in yours, and then we can see if there are more questions. But yes, if you haven't been background checked, you will have to be background checked. If you volunteered with us this past summer or even last summer, you should be okay because we keep them on file for 2 years. But if you haven't, we'll send you out an individual link for you to fill out your background check form. They are $13, I think. And so you'll get an email from either says Track One or People Facts or something like that to do your background check. let's see, what were some of the other questions I was asked? If you don't have books, you can use electronic books like Diane said, using your library card, or you can use hardback books. If you're in there, if you're willing to go to Stone Mountain and you really want a hardback book, we have a whole library. We can put books outside for you to get. We'd be happy to do that without any problem or issue. Let's see. Vera, you had a question?
With the books, is it okay to use YouTube links that show words of the books also? Is that an open option?
Yep, that's an open option. I mean, be creative as you want, like YouTube books, Kindle books, whatever kind of works for you and the kid, letting the kid read their own books. The grade, we'll have first through, we think we have first through sixth. Like I was telling my group, it's probably more first through fifth. Sixth graders are a little too cool for us sometimes. So you have that kind of age group to be mindful of. You really want to know what kids you have until that day. If you're coming regularly, my hope is that I'll be able to pair you regularly with the same kid. And so that way you'll be able to build a relationship and kind of plan for the next section. And that also kind of gets the kid excited to know they're going to be on the same call with the same person. So like I said, if you come regularly, I'll try my best to keep matching people with the same people. I think that was, I'm not sure how to say your name. I don't want to mess it up.
Dachin.
Dachin?
Dachin.
Dachin, okay.
I just want to make sure I read correctly. So I'm under 18. So do I still need a background check?
No.
Okay.
I also will you turn 18 while volunteering with us? Okay, great.
I had another question about the background check. I just went ahead and did it while we were on the WebEx. Okay, so they did charge my card, but they said the background screening invitation has expired and please contact the company that requested it to have the invitation sent. So I'm not necessarily sure if it went through or not.
Yeah, I can resend it, but I'm surprised they charged your card if they didn't do it.
Yeah, they usually tell you on the front end the link has expired.
Yeah, I'll check into that, Megan. We can talk, or shoot you an email afterwards
Thank you.
to see if they charged it or not, because they shouldn't have charged it, but I can resend the link to you.
Thank you.
No problem. Any other questions?
I wanted to add, so one of the things in our group was they also had questions about the book sharing. And so I talked about, can you all hear me okay? My screen is low. We're good. We talked about doing a screen recording of how to access the books easily in the DeKalb County system. And then Fulton County will probably be rather similar to the DeKalb County system. Oh, Sonia, we also talked a lot about how will we logistically do homework. And we talked a lot about we haven't done it before. And so we're going to learn as we go.
Yeah, we talked about that too. We were playing around with the whiteboard feature. And unfortunately for Zoom, it doesn't look like they can both write on it at the same time. But I'm going to check in the settings and see if there's a setting I can change that allows that. If you're not.
Vera's saying yes, you can. Vera's a teacher, and so Vera took over our breakout room. She was in charge by the end of that.
Okay, well, Vera can show us how to make it where both people can write on the board.
Yeah, it may have just been that the option was not selected correctly, because it's definitely one of those features. I don't know if I can, I guess I can still share. So like everybody now try to write. That's what it was. It just wasn't enabled. So when you go up, you won't be able to do it right now, but when I stop sharing, you can look. there are these 3 dots when you're looking at the bar, the control bar,
Mhm.
and it has more on the right, and it was on enable, which meant that it was disabled. So it was set to disable, that it wouldn't allow the other people to annotate. But when you deselect that or switch this, it's basically a toggle, then everyone can share as you see. You can even hide their names if if you're in a group setting. Like sometimes students get shy or nervous. So yeah, you can type and text and stamp and all that, and spotlight and everything.
Thanks, Vera, you're amazing.
That's what I'm.
So my group, yes, we can do it. We'll get the option corrected so that we'll be able to have everyone right on the board. So that'll be an option that can kind of help with sharing homework. If you have any other ideas, we're open.
I just want to say something. I tried writing on the screen just now, a whiteboard, and I couldn't.
I couldn't either, Vera.
Me either.
So I don't see the 3 dots you were talking about either.
I don't either.
I was able to get there by going to.
Right.
The person who's sharing has the 3 dots.
Okay.
You don't have the 3 dots. But if you
But
should
if you need to click view options on your screen, and then you can annotate, and then that brings up a whole list of actions that you can do: text and draw and stamp and arrow and eraser and those sorts of things.
y'all see it now? Oh my gosh, look at you, just going crazy on that whiteboard. So you can see how students get caught up in doing this, and now they're annotating while you're trying to read a book or go over something else. So that's why the disable option is important. Did everybody find it now?
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, Allison.
I didn't find it.
No, I needed to go if I didn't get it.
Okay, Allison, will you explain it again?
Sure. So right now you should see a green bar at the top that says you are viewing Vera Musgrove's screen.
Yeah.
And a black thing that says view options.
Yep.
Button with the view options.
Yep.
And
Annotate.
then annotate.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
Got it.
Got
Thank
it.
Now you're cooking with grease.
Yeah. Got it.
Stop sharing. And you can do all those things, stamp and type and everything.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm the only one who that option doesn't show up, but that's fine because I'm not doing whiteboard with kids. So I'm so glad all of you.
Okay, now everybody stop so I can stop sharing.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't have control of the board anymore, do I? Someone took the board from me.
I didn't take it. Diane, did you take the board?
Megan, did you take it? There we go. Okay.
There you are.
Thank you, Vera. That was fun.
So okay, we're all kids at heart. Someone mentioned I'm doing another practice session. So I'm thinking maybe Tuesday morning, if people want to, I'll send out an email. If you want to hop on, you can hop on and we can play around. And if you want to get some books and test them out before the call, we'll be able to do that. And
yeah.
So I'll send out an email with a time and a new link, just to be like a trial play time. If you can play and color on the whiteboard for as long as y'all want to, or at least until 4.
Okay.
A couple of things I want y'all to be mindful of. If you all come and we don't have as many kids as you expected, I think a lot of times that happened this summer. Like, don't get discouraged. Like, if you have 1 kid or 2 kids and I have to pair you up for 1 kid, it matters to that kid. It matters to the kids that show up. And so we want to be consistent in offering our services to our family and to our families and the kids that show up. And it matters. I've had parents who just said, I really, really hope you do homework because I don't know how to help my kid. And so if that's the one kid or the 3 kids that show up, you know, just let's make sure that we're there for them and we're happy and we're trying to be engaged, even if it's not exactly what we expect it to be. Like I said, it's our first time doing this. We normally don't even have a fall program. And so we're trying something new just to offer to our kids. And we just want to do the best that we can with as much help as we can. Mary, you have a question? You're muted.
Okay, with homework help, suppose a child asks us to help with math, and they do math a lot differently than we do. How do we approach that?
Anybody know how to do the new math?
We had the same question in our other breakout room. I don't know how to do the new math, is like full disclosure.
Vera, what do we do?
I don't know. But my suggestion, what I would do, I don't know. What I would do though is I would go to YouTube, even with that student, and I would say, ooh, new math addition. Let's follow this video together and see that's what I would do. Because teachers always put stuff online. We love to show that we know how to teach. And we especially love to show that we know how to teach virtually. So there is probably a teacher somewhere who has already posted third grade new math video. YouTube is your guide to whatever you need to figure out. Yeah, that's what I would do.
That is great advice. I'm going to start giving that advice. YouTube is your friend.
Learn together.
Right. Like, ooh, let's work through this together. Oh my goodness, did you see that step? Let's try it. Let's back up a little bit. I missed it. Let's try again.
I love that, because one of the things we talk about a lot here is mutual relationships, and we define that as everyone is a learner and everyone is a teacher. And so with new math, we are all learners and YouTube is our teacher. This is also why we have the help button.
Yes.
But I don't know if Sonia knows new math either.
But I can definitely YouTube it. We can figure it out together. And I think that's the kind of fun part about, for me, that's the fun part about this whole thing is like, I'm figuring out what together with you all, with the kids, with their parents, like we're figuring out as a community. And so I don't come with it all done or knowing everything, but someone does.
And what makes that being helpful as we all grow as a group is just a resource page, like a math resource page with YouTube links or other things on websites that we can pull up and share with the students. Because, I mean, we're all, the grades are the grades. So the students are gonna have similar standards that they're working on.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And so maybe I'll start like a Google document that we'll share with the volunteers, so you can add in resources like this link was really helpful for math, or this was a really good book that I found online. So that way we all have access to different materials.
Vera has great ideas.
I know, I love Vera. Are there any other questions?
I just like last meeting with distribution people, Sonia said extend grace was her motto. And I would just like to reiterate that because it's all a learning curve. And I know for me, and I'm sure I'm going to make mistakes and such. So I appreciate if you all extend grace to me if you don't get the responses as quickly as you think you should. Yeah, but, I like that motto.
Yes, extend grace. I'm going to put that on a t-shirt. For us and all of everyone we work with, extend grace. So.
Marty, will you put in the chat your volunteer email so they have that for their records so they can contact you?
If I know what it is, volunteer, got to look back and see exactly what it is.
Thank you everyone for showing up today, for contributing, for learning with us. We appreciate you. I'm excited for what this looks like for kids this fall. When Sonia opened up distribution training or distribution for our Stone Mountain families, I think all of our summer families signed up again. And so that was really great. And we're really excited to continue walking alongside the families and these kids and helping out as best we can. And we absolutely could not do this without you. So thank you.
Yep, thank you. Marty, I put it in there. So there's Marty's email, the volunteer manager email. You should all have mine, so feel free to also reach out. I'm available. So if there's nothing else, anybody?
Sonia, I'm sorry. This is April. What is your email address?
I'll put it in the chat.
Okay.
Because my last name is weird.
Thanks, Sonia.
No
Diane.
problem.